Today's date is July 30th, 2025, and the main things we have to talk about tonight is the severe weather and also the relief from the heat coming to portions of the eastern U.S. For today on Wednesday, we have three marginal risk, one into the central U.S., into Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado. And then we also have a marginal risk stretching from Kansas all the way up into Michigan, and then one into the northeast, starting in Maine all the way down to West Virginia. Storms are already ongoing for quite a bit of the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, but over the next couple of hours, we could see some more storms start to develop into Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, portions of the Mid-Atlantic, and into the Ohio Valley. But by about later on this evening, maybe 1 or 2 a.m. tonight, Eastern Daylight Time, these storms should just about be out of here, but still we could see some lingering storms into the Ohio Valley maybe by tomorrow around 7 or 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time into Ohio and Indiana as well into the morning hours. For the western U.S., storms should be forming right around now, right around 2 or 3 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And so these will continue on and linger on through the evening into Colorado, Wyoming, and then really by about 11 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, most of these storms should start to weaken and eventually move out of these areas, besides just a few isolated storms into the Dakotas and even into Oklahoma and Kansas well into the morning hours tomorrow on Thursday. For tomorrow on Thursday, July 31st, we have a marginal risk here into portions of the Mid-Atlantic, and then one other marginal risk here into Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado. Starting out with the western U.S. for tomorrow, and so going to about around 4 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, and then 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time, these storms should start to develop, especially into Colorado, and then really by about, I would say about 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time, you could see some storms well into Nebraska and Kansas, and then up into Montana as well by this time. But most of those should be kind of short-lived, mostly just sporadic storm activity across these areas. But these storms could kind of march east into the Dakotas as well, and just the central U.S. as a whole tomorrow on Thursday. For tomorrow on Thursday, for the Mid-Atlantic, storms should start to develop or will already be developed quite a bit in the Ohio Valley by 8 a.m. tomorrow on Thursday. And then really by around 2 o'clock tomorrow into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, storms should start to develop more and intensify further, along with more storms into the southeast and southern U.S. But if we take a closer look here, you can see quite a few storms tomorrow, and that will mostly be for a wind damage threat across those areas. But they should be just about completely moved out of those areas by very early Friday morning. So for Friday, August 1st, we don't have a whole lot going on, actually. We do not have any marginal, slight, or enhanced risk for these days. So just a general thunderstorm risk across quite a bit of the country, into the southeast, south central U.S., parts of the central U.S., and then into the northwestern U.S. for Friday. Now let's take a look at the GFS weather model for Friday. So really across the southeast, you could see quite a few storms, especially into the Carolinas, and then into the Dakotas, probably again more storms up in there. We might get see a marginal risk get added into Friday as we get closer to Friday, obviously. But still, most of the country will stay dry except for the southeast, central U.S., and parts of the Pacific Northwest as well. Then as we go into the weekend, not a whole lot again, just some rain across the country, and just daily summertime storm activity, especially across the eastern U.S. Then as you get into next Wednesday, you might could see a little bit of a system move in potentially into the Ohio Valley, Midwest. Not a whole lot there, but as we get into later next week, into Friday even, we're getting pretty far out by this point, and still not a whole lot showing up as far as just precipitation goes. But still expect those daily daily storms across parts of the country. So you're probably wondering about heat, and we're just about getting ready to talk about that. But as you can see here, across the eastern U.S., this is right around right now. And so as you can see, we have below average temperatures moving into the central U.S., and the eastern U.S. is still a little bit above average, but especially the northeast is above average along into the northwest as well. But as we get into tomorrow on Thursday, quite a bit of the central U.S. will be below average. This could be even 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10 degrees below average compared to what you usually expect this time of year. Going into Friday, that cold air moves farther southward. Then as you get into Saturday, quite a bit of the country here is actually below average. Even the northeast, only really areas that could potentially see above average temperatures are Florida, parts of Texas, Arizona, maybe New Mexico, potentially Utah, and then up into Washington State and Oregon. So as we get into Sunday, still the same thing, but almost the entire eastern U.S. is below average as far as temperatures goes, as well as the central U.S. going into next week as well. These below average temperatures hang around still as we even get into further next week as well. Looks like we could see actually just slightly above, not really slightly, but above average low temperatures, but looks like our high temperatures will be below average just a little bit by next week as well across the southeast and north central U.S. So that's something to consider as well. And cooler air is on the way. So now if we take a look at our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, we have the Climate Prediction Center showing the area that could see the highest chance for above average temperatures into the south central U.S., then into the Great Lakes states as well, and then below average temperatures into the northwestern U.S. for the next 8 to 14 days. The Climate Prediction Center unfortunately shows almost the entire country being above average for temperatures. And even for the next 3 to 4 weeks, I don't really like looking at this too much just because it is so far out. But they do show the central U.S. being around average and the eastern and western U.S. being above average for temperatures. So that'll be it for today's update. I appreciate all of y'all watching, and I hope y'all have a great week.